there is a contrasting difference in the behavior pattern of Indians when it comes to tackling our two adversaries, Pakistan and China. Saving a few things, Pakistan has nothing substantive to offer for India. Its politicians and known faces constantly spew venom against India. On the Indian side, the rhetoric ranges from rationalism to jingoism, banning anything and everything, including songs or singers from whom Bollywood copies without a shame. But what? China enjoys an uncanny ignorance or forgiveness from us. Namaste and welcome to TFI Post. I'm your host Paurush Gupta. Let's begin. In case of dealing with China, nationalism, hard feelings for our sworn adversary and greatest threat, China, gets subsided. And it is replaced by economic consideration and TINA factor. What's TINA? Let me explain. TINA stands for there is no alternative. Obviously, there are alternatives to everything in today's time. It is just another version of excuses to strangulate national interest and drain our resources to fatten Winnie the Pooh, Xi Jinping. Every now and then, boycott Chinese products pays dividend, but a small win here and there does not change the larger picture. The fact is that Indians have to raise the bar or fences against Chinese intrusion in our economy. Highlighting the same, the Indian Cellular and Electronics Association (ICEA) has recently raised red flags against Chinese firms. The ICEA has advised the Indian government to create policies that prevent China from dominating the mobile device supply chain. First things first, ICEA is the apex industry body of mobile and electronics industries in India. The body comprises of manufacturers, brand owners, technology providers, distributors, and retail chains of mobile handsets and electronics. ICEA has cautioned the government against encouraging new EMS, known as Electronic Manufacturing Services, firms that are headquartered in China to operate in India. It added that these Chinese firms could end up dominating the supply chain. Apparently, the majority of components used to create mobile devices come from China. To substantiate its arguments, the ICEA made a presentation. According to ICEA, India now has large global EMS players, including those from Taiwan and the United States, to meet its own requirements and exports. Apart from these global players, India has homegrown players that could meet the requirements within India. ICEA also argued that there is no need to allow newer players from China. The apex body has suggested that India should impose an equity cap of 24% on all those Chinese EMS companies that want to establish a manufacturing facility in India. Furthermore, all China-based EMS companies operating in India should be asked to bring down their stake below 49%. Currently, there are numerous Chinese smartphone brands that are operating in India, yet they assemble their phones from Chinese players and encourage and nurture these Chinese firms. The association wants this to be changed to boost domestic players, or that these Chinese firms operating in India should diversify their assembly lines rather than encouraging Chinese firms alone. For example, Chinese brands like Xiaomi use components from both Foxconn and Chinese EMS player DBG to make phones. Similarly, EMS players like Huagin, Longcheer and Wingtech have been aiming to play a larger role in India. Currently, they collectively account for almost 75% of the smartphone shipments globally. On the domestic front, there is the homegrown Dixon Technologies. It assembles mobile telephones, TV sets, laptops, etc. Recently, the ICEA reported that India has already exported mobile phone worth rupees 82,000 crores, which it amounts to $10 billion in the financial year 2023, which ends on March 31st. The export of mobile phones clearly shows that India is on the right track. It is all set to achieve the goal of exporting rupees 1 lakh crore worth of mobile phones by 2023. One of the main reasons for this success is the large number of phones that are made in India, with just 1% of mobile phones being imported and remaining 99% produced locally. An ICA official stated that by the end of January, the exports were around $8.5 billion, while exports were estimated to have reached approximately $9.5 billion in February. Compared to this, India recorded mobile phone exports worth $5.5 billion in 2021-2022. According to the official, the mobile phone industry will surpass $40 billion in manufacturing output, with 25% exports at $10 billion. On account of the PLI scheme, global manufacturing giants like Apple and Samsung have ramped up their production in India. Both of them have played a major role in these export numbers. As per ICEA data, around 50% of total exports were made by Apple's Made in India smartphones alone. Similarly, Samsung came in second place and exported nearly 40% of the total mobile phone exported in FY 2023. India currently exports mobile phones to the top 5 countries in the world: UAE, US, Netherlands, UK and Italy. The government is working to strengthen the ecosystem of electronic manufacturing beyond mobiles to increase India's global market share in hearables, wearables, IT hardware, and electronic components. Now, don't let these promising numbers fool you. While it is a good sign that Make in India is booming and global giants are investing in India, but India has to ramp up and tweak its policies based on these statistics. Firstly, India has to improve its competitiveness as compared to Vietnam, which is a fierce competitor in the electronic manufacturing industry. In the same time period, Vietnam exported electronic goods worth 130 billion US. So our success has to be seen in the larger context, and there are ample room to increase our export pie. Second, India must provide the necessary assistance to its domestic players and draft policies accordingly. As previously stated, Apple and Samsung virtually dominate India's export sector. For boosting our domestic players, the recommendations of ICEA seem to be the first step, which is to limit the Chinese equity in joint ventures.